Hey there everyone, welcome back to PalettePlay Studios. Today we are going to bring back some childhood nostalgia using nothing but watercolors. Remember that classic scene we all painted as kids? Mountains, a river, cute little cottage, and a tree standing tall beside it? Well, today we are recreating it, but here's the twist. No sketches, just straight into painting. Okay, we are starting with the sky as we usually did when we were kids. No sketching needed here, obviously. Just free flowing paint. I am using a light wash of blue, starting at the top and blending it downwards. Don't worry about being precise, let the water do the work, spreading the color naturally. Watercolors have a mind of their own sometimes, and that's what makes them so fun and freeing. Okay, now for the mountains. This is where we are taking a leap of faith and with no sketching, just using my brush to make the mountain shapes. Taking a very light brown color first to mark the position of the mountains. And I will use blue color to add some depth to it, because as we see in natural sceneries, the far away mountains look a shade of blue generally. So putting a darker shade of blue at the background of this brown, make it in layers and layers, right? Watercolors, let it dry, then add more color to it so that there is depth to it. Let the water guide your hand here. You don't need sharp lines, just a suggestion of mountain rising in the background, okay? And as your paint dries up, you can add more color to it to give other layers to the mountain range. And moving on to the brown color now, again we are making two layers of mountains, one the far end which is in blue and the one with the brown which I'm making right now. Next, let's paint the river. Again, no outlines, just a mixture of light blues and blues to create the flow of the water. Okay, I have started at the middle and I am moving it downwards. Add a little more water to it. You can make the shape of the river just by how the water flows. Let the color get lighter as we move towards the foreground, adding depth. Don't need to be exact at all. Just have fun with the colors. taking a very earthy tone at the so that we can make the edges of the river, the banks actually, a very earthy tone to it. Now merging this bank of river with a greener shade so that we can give a look of a grass something. And we have to mark the boundary of the mountain as well with dark green. We will give a hint of a forest or something like that at the boundary of the mountains as well. Is taking all kinds of greens together and dapping on the edges of the mountain to give a far and forest look to it. And at the bottom I am making the green grass with variety of greens, dark greens, teals, so that I can give it a little more depth. Okay, now I am cheating a little bit. I'm making a very rough sketch for a cottage because so that we don't have to redo this. Okay, so a little bit cheating here and there is fine. Okay, we will use some earthy tones only for the house. Okay, so we will use some earthy tones for the cottage, taking a brown color and making the roof of it. We will mix a little bit red in it as well to give it depth. Okay, if you think that there is more water to it, please dab it using a paper towel or a rag, a clean one, because so that no other color is mixed in it. You can see a basic structure of the cottage is ready. I have left the back end of the cottage because I know I have to make a tree there, so I don't want to put darker color at the background so that my tree gets hampered with it. Giving it depth here and there using a darker tone and a lighter tone here so that I can give more depth to it. So you should remember your color wheel for this so that you know for depth we are using analogous colors and for contrast we are using complementary colors. Okay, now for the tree I will be using different shades of greens, right? So I have to remember where my sun is going to be, so I will know how my shadow is going to come and where are my leaves going to be lighter in shade. So my sun is going to be at top, so my topper side of the tree would be lighter in shade and the base of that tree leaves would be little darker. So I am dabbing my color on the paper, right? Dab, 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 so that it gives the feel of leaves. If you see, sometimes I take some color back. How you do that is you take water in a fresh brush and tap it on the place where you want to remove the color so that it gives you some shadows and some whites in your picture. My trunk is going to be brownish, grayish and whitish, all colors mix, right? Giving it an older look because this is not a small sapling, it's an old tree. Now let's make all the shadows, taking darker shade of greens, darker shade of browns and blacks all together, giving shadow to the house and the tree. Now shadows, you need not make it in sharp lines. It should be free flowing shadows, because the shadow is of a leaf. It cannot have hard lines, right? Okay, now our last element of the picture, the sun. I am making it on top of a mountain range with bright yellow and orangish colors mixed, and I am thinking of putting some on the sides also, some yellow color in the sky as well. Okay, now it's time to bring the scene together with some finishing touches, adding some darker shades to the mountain to create shadows and depth, some whitish colors as well, few highlights, and lighter blue will give a sparkling look to it. All my detailings on the tree, on the cottage, little whites and blacks here and there. And there it is, a childhood scene brought back to life using just watercolors. If you enjoyed this trip down the memory lane, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more art adventures. Let me know in the comment section what you'd like to paint next. Life's better with a splash of color. Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating.